Welcome back to Real Drunk here in Space Castle, where we create drinking games for classic movies. We play those drinking games to your amusement and oftentimes our own misery. And then we try and review the movie after we've been drinking heavily for 90 minutes or more. My name is DT.
And I'm Seth.
Kids, if you've been playing along at home, you know that this marks the 13th episode of Real Drunk. And we're celebrating lucky number 13 by pressing our luck with a movie that is not only just absolutely fucking absurd, it is also 2 hours long. This comes to us as a suggestion from our longtime friend, Danny Reeser. Danny, you are to blame for this. We love you. We also might end up hating you at the end of this. We'll see what happens, but we're still going to love you anyway. The movie I'm talking about is, of course, the 1982 classic, The Beastmaster, directed and co-written by Don Coscarelli. He is a director who had something of a resurgence again in the early 2000s. He's something of a cult director. And he came back on the scene in 2002 with Bubba Hotep, starring Bruce Campbell. And he also did John Dies at the End in 2012. Both of those movies have something of a cult following now, which is kind of interesting.
Both much better movies than this one.
Yes. This movie stars Mark Singer as Dar, the titular Beastmaster. Mark Singer has since done a shit ton of movies and TV. He's something of a B-movie legend. That TV career also includes multiple attempts in a Beastmaster TV series. They've tried so fucking hard over the last 40 years to develop this into a franchise, and it just hasn't happened. I'm honestly shocked that they haven't tried to reboot it in the 2020s, honestly.
Oh, I'm sure they've tried.
Yeah, they probably have. I'm sure they kind of gave up after that really fucking terrible Conan movie with Jason Momoa, and they just realized that low high fantasy just doesn't fucking work anymore. Lord of the Rings kind of killed high fantasy. It set a new standard, and it's mercifully killed a lot of projects that probably shouldn't come to fruition. This flick also stars Tanya Roberts, who plays Kiri. She went on to, of course, play Stacey Sutton in A View to a Kill, one of the many, many James Bond movies. I don't know enough about James Bond movies to rank it and tell you if it's one of the better ones or not. Maybe Seth can. I don't know.
It's not.
It's not. I didn't think so. She's also, before she passed away tragically, was most famous for being Donna's mom on That 70s Show for a number of years. The movie also stars Rip Torn. He plays Mayax, which if you wait until the end and you read the credits, the spelling of Mayax just makes me laugh every fucking time, because you'll see. I'll zoom in on it at the end. It's great. Rip Torn, of course, had a massively prolific career where he would do just about fucking anything for money, including such classes as Dodgeball and Men in Black and RoboCop 3. It also stars John Amos, who plays a character with a very familiar name, Rod Loomis, and many, many other character actors and animals. This movie is loosely, and I mean fucking loosely, based on the 1950 novel The Beastmaster, written by Andre Norton. I say very loosely because the original novel actually featured a Native American soldier veteran in a futuristic sci-fi setting. This movie is not that at all. It could not be further away from that. As a result, Norton took his name off of anything having to do with the movie, completely disavows any knowledge of it ever existing. And the movie had kind of a troubled sort of production as well. Coscarelli, the director, he had a tough time. He really wanted Demi Moore in the role of Kiri. He was actually overruled by the executive producer, which is really fucking weird because the executive producer is more or less kind of like an honorary title in most cases. But they ended up getting Tanya Roberts for the role instead of Demi Moore, and that pissed Coscarelli off, so this was off to a bad start to begin with. For the role of Mayax, the villain, they wanted Klaus Kinski, who was a longtime collaborator at the time with Werner Herzog. He's fucking crazy, apparently, which makes him a great collaborator with Werner Herzog.
I would like to see the baby.
He wanted too much money, so they settled for Rip Torn, because again, Rip Torn, may he rest in peace, would do fucking anything for cash.
And also Rip Torn is amazing.
He's fucking amazing, sure, in a batshit fucking crazy way. And he's no less amazing in this movie. He's awesome. Maybe the highlight.
Klaus Kinski makes a lot more sense.
Sure.
But Rip Torn is always great.
It's not akin to James Earl Jones in Conan the Barbarian. It's nowhere near that, but it's interesting at least. So this movie was shot for $9 million. And if you've been paying attention, you're aware that shooting anything fantasy or sci-fi for $9 million, even back in the 80s, is just a non-starter. If you watch the last episode on Ice Pirates, you know that shit's about to go down in the most cheap and cheesy and terrible way. And we're going to end up really fucking drunk at the end of this video. I already know. I can tell it's going to happen. God damn it, Danny.
Spoiler alert, $0 were spent on the costume budget.
Literally.
I'm pretty sure that's where they cut corners there to make that budget.
Yeah. Also, spray painting tigers black. Some of the most horrifically, terribly, awfully choreographed fight scenes you've ever seen. Like, I think they may have just ran out of corners to cut with this fucking thing. Honestly.
They didn't cheap out on the ferret wrangler. That's the important thing.
25 fucking ferrets were used on this movie because ferrets are impossible to train. And you will see how absurd that is as we get into this movie. That being said, let's get into this movie. As always, we have 10 drinking rules for this drinking game, 10th of which is the wild card. I've picked it out this time because Seth hasn't seen this movie in like 30 years. I've seen it fairly recently, so I was able to pick something out. It's going to be a good one. But here are the other 9 rules for 1982's classic, The Beastmaster. Rule number 1, a new species of animal is on screen. Not every time there's an animal on screen because we would fucking die. But anytime there's a new species of animal that appears on screen for the first time, we're going to drink for that.
This is a YouTube show, not a frat party.
This is not Faces of Death. No. This might actually turn into a frat party because rule number 2 is nudity. There's a lot of very cliche 1980s nudity happening in this movie. Obviously, it's going to be censored out so YouTube doesn't, come to our houses and drag us out and stuff us in black vans and drive those vans off a cliff. Rule number 3, magic. It's a fantasy movie. It's in the 80s. There's a whole lot of magic, a whole lot of spells, a whole lot of cultist shit. Anytime that happens, this movie's going to magically get better because we're going to drink. Rule number 4, the Beastmaster uses his powers. If you haven't caught on yet, the Beastmaster's magical ability is the ability to master beasts. This means he can see through their eyes, they can see through his eyes, he can talk to them and give them commands. They act as sort of like his henchmen / companions. Anytime he uses his powers to that effect to, basically exploit these animals for his own personal gain, we're going to drink for it.
No, he has a deep spiritual connection with these animals, DT.
Sure, yeah, sure. Number 5, human sacrifice. A lot of cult members, a lot of evil shit, a lot of mentions of human sacrifice, a lot of actual human sacrifice. One of which is actually pretty fucking shocking. Anytime it comes up or it actually happens on screen, we're going to perform a very slow sacrifice upon ourselves by drinking hard liquor. Rule number 6, the eagle flies. So one such companion of Dar the Beastmaster is an eagle. And I'm going to explain as we go through the movie why I've chosen this rule, because this eagle was a fucking champion and it deserves its own rule. Also because there are so many goddamn aerial shots of this eagle flying through the sky. And as always, we just aim to get fucking blitzed by the end of these videos. So, yeah. Rule number 7, the aforementioned spray-painted tiger kills somebody. Doesn't happen as often as you think. But the tiger is like the brawn, like the muscle of Dar's little, weird leather-clad, gallivanting gang. And the tiger kills people. I think he kills more people than Dar does, actually. So every time that happens, we're going to kill ourselves slowly. Number 8, the ferrets are the real heroes. As I mentioned before, 25 fucking ferrets were used in this movie. And all those 25 ferrets represent these 2 ferret characters that are part of Dar's entourage. If you watch the movie closely, you realize that everything that's heroic or meaningful in this movie is actually done by the ferrets for some strange reason, and not by Dar, the hero himself. Anytime they do something, or they're in a situation in which they are the main characters of this movie secretly, we're going to drink for them. And number 9, Dar makes animal noises. They really tested Mark Singer's fucking acting abilities in this movie. He gets to screech like an eagle a lot. He gets to make all kinds of animal noises. If that was the least embarrassing part of his performance in this movie, that'd be wonderful for him. But it's sadly not, but it's hysterical. So every time it happens, we're going to drink for it.
The real question is whether we drink enough times for us to start making animal noises. It's a distinct possibility.
Absolutely. It's 2 hours long, man. It's going to be fucking brutal. Speaking of brutality, the 10th rule in this drinking game, as always, is the wild card. Once I call out that wild card, a very specific point in the movie, We have to finish our drinks no matter how full they are, no matter how drunk we are, no matter how much we want to throw up. And if we do not finish those drinks, we cannot finish the movie. And also, a randomly selected animal is released from a zoo into a major city. Let's start this motherfucker. Let's begin watching 1982's The Beastmaster. Oh, MGM Lion drink. Fuck. I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about it.
The Leisure Investment Company. Okay.
That's an oxymoron, right? Are we drinking for the opening credit animals?
Yes.
All right. We're going to double drink for some of these,
That's
though.
two.
Yeah.
Eagle flying. Imagine how much better a movie this would be if Rip Torn were the eagle.
There we go. Is human a species of animal?
The most dangerous animal of all.
Turns out it's man. Nudity. There's some bare butts. Is this magic?
Not starting off slow this time.
You will die tonight.
Human sacrifice?
Yes. This always turns out well.
Absolutely.
I have been told you are planning a child sacrifice.
Sacrifice.
Demands the life of an unborn.
I will not allow the sacrifice of an innocent.
Sacrifice.
Branded with the sign of R and sacrificed.
Sacrifice. No, that's not Rip Torn's actual nose.
I'm aware.
Okay.
Put to death.
Those are his actual eyebrows, though. Animal. It's a cow, I think. And some horsies. We might actually black out before we get to the end of this movie.
Ah, yes, the classic fantasy trope of bringing a cow with you on a stealth mission.
Magic. I'm gonna call that magic. She just transported an unborn fetus from a human to a cow.
I'm pregnant.
Wouldn't it have made just as much sense or more for her to transport it into, like, I don't know, herself?
Or, I mean, it's more graphic, but just cut the baby out of the mom. I don't know. Seems like a lot of fucking work. But the thing is, the Beastmaster gets his abilities from being birthed from a cow. Master Splinter's gonna pop out of that fire at any point.
I love you all, my sons.
Sacrifice.
Magic.
Yep, that's magic. Donkey. Look, everyone, it's George. And he brought dinner. It's a bear. So here's a little fun bit of trivia. The bear wrangler kind of sucked, and he ended up getting fired and being replaced. And the bear actually attacked somebody just before they shot this scene. And they didn't tell the kid that that bear had just attacked somebody.
So that blood on the bear wasn't...
I don't know.
That was...
Might could be real. Who knows? But yeah, that animal wrangler was fired partway through the production and replaced with somebody else. Seth, just so you know, this is another time jump. And that's a dog. Drink.
Does it count as using his powers if he waves at the dog?
Sure.
Fixed.
Oh, Dad, always hanging out with those hoes. That was funny. Come on.
You got the first face palm of the night, not the movie. That's an accomplishment.
Father.
While we're watching this movie, I'd like to play a little side game, if you'll indulge me. Mark Singer rotates back and forth between looking like Alton Brown from Good Eats on Food Network and Kevin Bacon. In any given scene, he looks like one of the two, but never, like, not one of the two. It's fucking hilarious. Alton Brown, I'm saying. Nudity! Still Alton Brown. No hints of Kevin Bacon just yet. Beastmaster uses his powers, though. That's a drinking rule, Seth. You're supposed to drink your alcohol. The dog is the best actor in this movie. Legit. Should we drink for all the villagers that got sacrificed? Probably should, right?
No, just a dog.
Okay, that's fine. All right.
The gods have put their mark on you, and someday you will find out why.
The gods have marked your hand with a pair of pants. Someday, you will invent pants, which don't currently exist in this world, and no one is wearing.
Nudity?
Look for our enemies.
Just about.
And you
Kevin Bacon. Is this Beast? This is Eagle Flying. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's everybody who used to be in a movie.
The ultimate weapon of power, a random stick.
Yeah, would practicing with the sword make a lot more sense?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like there weren't swords laying around.
Eagle Flying.
Just give him his dad's sword. It's not hard.
Yeah, animal noises from Dar. He's dangerously close to inventing the broom. It's like, oh shit, I forgot I had a sword. I should practice with this. Ferrets.
Maybe I should try using my power to control animals instead of randomly yelling at them.
Maybe you should do it faster, Dar. Also, the ferrets are the actual heroes of this movie.
I'm gonna name you Kodo. You get a name too, Podo. Kodo and Podo,
I'm pretty sure he just said 4 different names.
my friends.
I'm gonna name you Popo and Nana. I'm gonna name you Coca and Cola. There you go, Fly. Beastmaster uses his powers. Oh, it's a tiger. Drink. Just awful fight scenes.
Is the tiger about to kill somebody? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he just died.
As Beastmaster looks on, like, proud.
Your name is Ru.
That's not it. That's not a name. It's just a noise. Your name is Beastmaster uses his abilities. More nudity, too. Kevin Bacon.
The beast is fierce.
They're like working together to like trick this lady. He's kind of using his
He's basically
abilities 'cause
stumbled
he's, like,
into an episode of Almost Sunny in Philadelphia.
It kind of looks like Glenn Howerton, actually.
You've just got to show them who's in command.
He's a 5-star Beastmaster. Stuffs the ferrets back in his pants. No, he's not wearing pants. Or his loincloth, or his satchel. Where did he fucking put those ferrets just now? That kind of looks like Richard Gere. Mad Mardigan?
No, this is cousin Slightly Peeved Mardigan.
Tiger, do you know this recipe?
I mean, based on what we've seen, the tiger probably does know how to make that. I mean, does the head count as a human sacrifice?
Sure, yeah.
It's probably how it ended up in there.
He runs right at the people who captured him. I don't know if he just ate him, or if that's a sacrifice, or just straight up murder. I don't know.
I'll go sacrifice.
Fair enough. I also have no idea what these fucking things are, and it's never explained. Kind of look like the Cobra Commander from G.I. Joe. Or like the foot soldiers from the 1987 Ninja Turtles cartoon. What the fuck just happened? Eagle flies. The reason we're drinking for the eagle is because this fucking eagle was put through so much goddamn bullshit in the filming of this movie. The eagle was not very obedient. And the falconer, whatever they call the people who wrangle the eagles and shit in movies and whatnot, couldn't get it to do anything. So for all these shots of them like filming the eagle flying, they took the eagle up in a fucking hot air balloon and threw it out of the fucking basket. Just fucking awful. So that eagle is a goddamn trooper. He's a hero. That poor spray painted tiger probably smells like a Home Depot. Ponies. Sure.
There were a bunch of random animals.
Sure.
So he does know how to put on clothes. Good to know.
Human sacrifice. Good fucking god. Eagle flies.
Again, only the blood of this child.
Human sacrifice.
I look upon you as his children again.
Eagle flies.
The worst movie slide since Christmas Story. Eagle fly.
Ho, ho, ho. Look at this shit. It was almost a wild card.
Then so shall I.
100% Kevin Bacon right there.
Bring him to me.
Not quite nudity.
Master of the beast.
Close enough.
All right, fair enough.
This ring.
Magic. Tiger kills somebody.
Is he yours?
We fight together sometimes.
Sometimes we make love.
I'm called Seth.
Also not the wild card.
Tao.
I was bracing for it just in case.
I see through their eyes. They see through mine. They know my thoughts, I know theirs.
You'd be amazed what the ferrets dream about.
Hey kid, want to play with my ferret?
Where'd you find these?
This one's Coco. Another one's name is
Those
Pebbles.
are my thieves.
Eagle flies, kind of. There it is. It's just squatting right over the fire. Beastmaster powers.
They're to be sacrificed.
Sacrifice.
I'll give him this. At least the eagle idea is a clever idea to do all the aerial shots that you normally do in a movie like this.
Magic. The ferrets are the actual heroes of the movie?
Watch. The young priest will encase his body.
Mission Impossible prequel.
Tiger kills somebody. And now there's an entire fucking subplot of this movie of the ferrets running away from Bane from Batman and Robin.
They're like, we're not into S&M. We do not consent.
They'll be sacrificed come dawn.
Sacrifice. Right. Magic.
Powers.
Oh, there we go. This fucking nonsense again. Where the ferrets are the actual heroes of the movie.
They should have been able to take him out by now.
Right?
I tell my dog to do things sometimes and he does it. Does that mean I have Beastmaster powers too?
Yes.
I'm lying. My dog never does anything I tell him to do.
I'll catch up.
I gotta find poo poo and caca. Animal noises. Stupid.
Uses his power to communicate with the eagle. To send the eagle flying.
Come the fuck on.
You two are gonna open that gate for us.
Ferrets are the heroes of the movie.
He is the Beastmaster.
That's your wild card, by the way. He just said the name of the movie. It's Beastmaster. Cheers. Oh. I swear to God, it's like a fucking plastic tear glued to his
Go
cheek.
with me now.
I cannot leave.
It has not moved.
He has ordered you out. No one will challenge.
The tear just got shorter. Oh, here comes a cute girl. I better suck him back in.
Finally, somebody noticed the giant eyeball sticking out of the kid's fingers.
Also magic, kind of?
And Seth and the boy, they're to be sacrificed at sunset.
Sacrifice.
You must save them.
So much plot just happened off fucking screen. Like, the battle went badly, the king was defeated, Seth and the boy got captured, and, like, Beastmaster was having a camp out. Ferrets are the actual heroes. This fucking shot. This fucking shot. God damn it. That stupid fucking, like...
Said,
Oh my
the
god.
unborn son has returned.
Yes, Rip Torn can totally almost overpower that guy.
Alton Brown.
I think I know what we're about to drink for.
Ferrets are the true heroes of the movie. The ferret just fucking died killing the villain. Tell me the ferrets aren't the heroes of this movie. Can you believe this fucking movie's not over yet?
Faster, cover the moat!
Jesus fucking Christ.
Cover the... What?
Cover the moat. Did you see the size of that fucking moat? He wants it covered with dirt. Eagle flies.
Like, all of this should have been before he confronts Mayax. I've seen Sieges of Winterfell with better lighting. We can't tell it's water because there's some dirt floating on top of it. The boat's flammable?
I guess. Okay, I have a thought. He's the Beastmaster, so why doesn't he do some fucking Beastmaster shit on the bad guy's horses? Okay, so he jumps and ducks and rolls away and leaves his friends completely fucking vulnerable to Lord Humongous' staff of stabbing.
In a better version of this, there's like a colony of ferrets. It's just like a super giant, massive swarm of ferrets.
So did the eagle tell the bat guys which people to eat and which ones not to eat? Like, did they have a conversation when the eagle got there? Where's the fucking tiger in this battle? The tiger could have fucked a bunch of people up.
And then we could have drank more.
Forgot she existed.
And now she's with him because she is. And 2 baby ferrets for no reason. That means that ferret had to be pregnant during like most of the battle scenes that it participated in.
It also means those ferrets were fucking in Dar's bag this whole time.
They earned it, let's face it. So.
Rip Torn is maniacs. This fucking movie. Are you ready to get into the review?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay. Everyone, prepare for the review. Welcome to the review portion of this episode of Real Drunk on 1982's The Beastmaster. Seth, what do you think of The Beastmaster?
I liked it better than Ice Pirates.
I don't know if I did or not. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't know if I prefer this to Ice Pirates or not.
Coscarelli is closer to competence in this, I think. Like, the stuff you were pointing out that doesn't make sense, I could kind of like stop for a second and figure, okay, this is what they were going for. They didn't do it particularly well. It's like they thought every scene about 3/4 of the way through and then stopped and just didn't, take the time to like finish or polish it. It also might be an editing thing. It's a fairly long for this type of movie.
It's really fucking long at 2 hours. Like, it's really, really long for what this is. There is so much filler, so much stuff that just doesn't really pay off. There are fight scenes and action sequences that just go on and on and on for no real reason, excuse me.
And it felt like they didn't really recognize that they didn't have good blocking, staging, execution, anything on the action scenes.
No.
The obvious comparison is Conan the Barbarian.
Of course. Yeah, it has to draw comparisons to it. You cannot not compare this to Conan the Barbarian.
They don't take the time to do what Conan does, which is, besides having much better execution on the actual action, is like stop when an emotional thing happens and let the characters act in a scene where they deal with the emotional consequences of a thing that just happened.
Right.
So that it matters. They just kind of do like a super obvious, meaningful look thing for about 3 seconds and then move on. A shot of him with the one tear coming down. I mean, in that sense, it's probably good that they didn't go with the Native American angle, because that would have been the Indian with one tear. Would have been a little too cliche.
Maybe, yeah.
Not having read the book either, it feels like they stripped out all of the like interesting or anything the book was actually trying to say and didn't have anything to replace it with.
Sure. Yeah, this movie doesn't really have a thesis. It doesn't have anything to say. It's just things happening, and it's poor action.
It barely has characters.
Barely has characters, yeah. But it's funny, though, because this movie has a place in so many hearts of people our age because they grew up with it. Because this movie was always on TBS when I was a kid. Always. Like, there's like a running joke amongst 80s and 90s kids, like late stage millennials and even some Gen Xers, that like TBS used to stand for the Beastmaster station. Because this movie was like literally anytime I would go and stay at my grandma's house over the weekend, there was nothing to do besides swim in her swimming pool or like fucking watch TV. And from like 1985 to like 1995, like Beastmaster was on TBS like once a fucking day. It's fucking crazy. And apparently it was like on HBO all the time too. My family wasn't really big into HBO. We were more like a Showtime family for some reason. Like we subscribed to Showtime. I couldn't tell you why. But we had TBS, and this movie was just always on fucking TBS all the time. So there are people our age who've seen this movie like 100 fucking times because they had basic cable, and it's like the only thing that was available to watch. So a lot of people fucking love this movie.
I kind of get it though. Probably works best as like a background noise movie.
Sure, totally.
Which is what you generally go for something that you're going to play on cable all the time. You're
Right.
not expecting people to watch it constantly. You expect them to zone out to it while they're doing other things.
Right. And this movie was PG-13 with all the nudity in it, which is wild. So you can very, very easily edit the nudity out of it. You can throw a whole fucking mess of commercial breaks in there because the thing is still 2 hours long. And I bet TBS was pretty fucking smart for buying the rights to air the movie every goddamn fucking day and stuff it full of commercials. I bet they made a ton of profit on it. And honestly, the fact that this thing was shot for $9 million and it did really fucking poorly in theaters and whatnot, I bet the studio that produced it probably made more money selling the rights to TBS to air it all the fucking time than they did actually in theaters. So
honestly, most of the nudity feels like it was shot to be able to be edited out.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It's very brief. It's inconsequential. It's like there's that one scene of the villager lady with her boobs flopping around for some reason during the what are the bad guys called? The jars, the gens or something? The Juns. Thank you. There's that one shot. There's a couple of shots of Tanya Roberts bathing in the water. I think there's one more nudity shot. I only threw it in there as a fucking rule because it's an 80s fantasy movie, and nudity was like fucking requisite.
And lots of near nudity.
Right.
It looked like one of the producers was like, Tammy and the T-Rex was made because they had an animatronic T-Rex laying around. This felt like it was made because it had a yard sale for all their S&M gear. And they were passing by. They were like, you know what? Let's buy this stuff and make and use these as costumes for a movie. What's the cheapest book we can find to buy the rights for? We don't have to read it first.
There's a lot of things they could have done with this movie to make it make a lot more sense and make it more of a cohesive narrative. It's really badly written. Things just fucking happen. It's nonsense. It's like you said, it's complete just static white noise for basic cable in the late 80s, early 90s. That is the thesis of this movie. This is why this movie exists, honestly.
It's in this weird middle place where they either needed to cut like 40 minutes out of the movie, make it like super short, super sweet to the point, show the cool powers a couple times and be done with it, or they needed to make it longer and just actually put some money into it and go bigger and show some of the stuff that like the plot. We talked about it once when they're like, a whole bunch of plot just happened off screen, stuff that could have been interesting character development.
Right. Instead, we get endless shots of Dar, played by Mark Singer, swinging sticks and swords around for no reason. And the actual interesting part of this movie, the failed attempted invasion of the city where Mayax is hanging out by the king who's hell-bent on revenge. Did King die? He died, right?
Yeah, Max.
Yeah.
Sort of start.
It's so fucking like it's played as inconsequential and so like an afterthought, that whole sequence at the very end with the battle and whatnot. But yeah, the most interesting thing in this movie was the king's failed assault on the temple and the city surrounding it, and like Seth and that kid getting captured, and we don't even see it because we're too busy with fucking Mark Singer and his loincloth and his little chest straps having a fucking camp out in the desert. I had fun because Seth is an awesome fucking co-host, and like it's hilarious to watch movies with him, and this is excellent whiskey too, so I had a good time. But I don't think that Beastmaster is a good movie. I don't really recommend it. It's one of those movies that people have an affinity for and they have an emotional attachment to just because they've seen it 100 fucking times because it just lived on basic cable throughout all of our childhoods. But for somebody that was watching it for the first time, like today in 2023, I could not say, hey, you need to watch Beastmaster, because there's nothing here to really latch onto. It's not like the animals are the twist. They are the intrigue for the plot and the story. but it's largely inconsequential at the same time because it's not used very cleverly. It's just like set dressing. I don't know. Seth, do you recommend The Beastmaster to anybody? Besides Danny Reeser.
I wouldn't say I recommend it, but it's not one I would say like don't watch. For me, I keep comparing it to Ice Pirates. It's not a better movie than Ice Pirates, but I like it more.
Fair.
It might just be a difference in how I treat the genres. Like fantasy, sci-fi, I expect to be a little more intelligent and clever and playing with theme. And fantasy is a little bit easier to buy. Like, hey, it's just a fun adventure movie, roll with it.
This is like a 5 out of 10 for me. Really and truly.
Yeah. 5.5, 6-ish.
Okay. So you are ranking it higher than Ice Pirates. Okay.
Oh,
all
definitely.
Right. Yeah. Fair enough. Beastmaster is not a movie that I throw on any random time just to like, have a pizza and like watch something. It's just not that type of movie. But it's a movie that's important to a lot of people. So it's a quirky movie. It's interesting for what it is. It's not something I'm in love with. I've never personally had that affinity for it. I mean, honestly, like I'm one of those people who just watch Beastmaster over and over again. I'd seen it multiple times when I was a kid, but it's not like, fucking yeah, Beastmaster. Like, I'm going to watch Beastmaster again. I would flip through the channels and be like, oh, fuck, all right, Beastmaster. Okay. I understand why people are attached to it emotionally, why they have fond memories of it, but it's in and of itself just not a good movie. It's especially when there are just far superior products in that exact same time frame that exist that like serve all those purposes, but also execute it way, way better. Like nobody is still to this day clamoring for another Beastmaster movie, but everybody fucking still wants King Conan, and we're probably never going to get it, which is sad. That's all I've got to say on the Beastmaster. Seth, any closing thoughts?
No,
not
really.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I should have more to say about a movie with a jacked guy running around on a loincloth the whole time, and yet here we are.
I should have more to say with a movie that has Tanya Roberts running around topless, but I don't. So I guess that's going to do it for this episode of Real Drunk. I hope you're happy, Danny. We're still friends. We don't hate you. I had a good time. I'll say that. This right here was the best time I've ever had watching The Beastmaster, and it's due in no small part to the alcohol, but it is due in very large part to my amazing co-host, Super Laser Seth. You're an absolute goddamn champion. I love you to death. You make watching terrible movies so much fun. And yeah, if you're enjoying this, then please like and subscribe and leave a comment below and tell us what movies we should watch. This episode came about from a comment on YouTube. So if you got something good in store for us, let us know. We might watch it and get drunk to it and curse your name while we're doing it. If you want to support the show, you can check out our podcast, Space Castle. It comes out every Wednesday on every single pod player known to man. You can also check out spacecastlepod.com. You'll find links to all the social media. You'll find links to merchandise. We have t-shirts and pint glasses with the Real Drunk logo. So if you want to get some friends together and you want to get drunk watching terrible movies, you can do it in style, and you'd be supporting the show by doing so. But yeah, that's it for me. Yeah, I'm DT on behalf of Super Laser Seth. Thanking you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time after we've drank a whole shitload of Gatorade and eaten some Thai food and probably spend a night in the hospital.
Bye, Danny. You're so the best.
You are the best. We love you.